You know, we had on Saturday night, I think we went 143 plays with the ones, the twos, and we actually got some 3 reps, so that was good. So some of the guys that had not gotten in there as much lately because of a few injuries, the fact that we had moved some of these guys to the offensive side of the ball allowed us to get some reps, so that was a good thing, and it'll give us a chance for the next, well, actually today, Thursday and Saturday, to rep more guys, so we can continue to develop some guys. You know, one good thing, just looking at the scrimmage, I felt like offensively we created a few more explosive plays. You know, one thing that we have got to improve on is we got to finish some plays, some opportunities that we had. I thought our running backs competed well with the ball in their hand, and I thought they blocked well, so that was good to see. We protected the quarterback and gave him a little bit of a chance, to both of them, to have some success defensively. Didn't create enough turnovers. To me, not a lot of cleanup tackle, not playing the way you should play on defense. If you play the right way, then the runners don't want to run the ball, and we've got to improve on that. So, coming back today, we had some guys that looked like it was the 13th practice, So by that, what I mean is, there's some guys that went out there and just tried to make a day. And right off from flex to getting it started there, we had to jump start some of these guys. And unfortunately, like I told them, we'll have a football team around here when it's not me policing them, when they have paid the price, they've prepared, they're passionate about what they do, and they're not going to let their peers bring them down, the expectations. So until we get to that point, we'll get the same result. So that's one thing that we got to do, is improve on that, and hopefully we can do that as the summer goes.
Steve, just a housekeeping thing regarding setting up for the spring game. You had mentioned at the start of spring practice there's a possibility maybe of having stay at a hotel room to get that road game feel. Is that what you're going to do now, do you know? Or
what we're going to do is we're actually not going to stay at a hotel, just from a standpoint of logistics for this deal. But what we need is I mean, to me, I'm in here preaching, basically to our recruits, the passion about Tennessee football, the way Tennessee football was when I knew it growing up, playing against it. So we have an opportunity, when I got the job, one of the first things we talked about was it's going to take everybody to get Tennessee football back to the way it's supposed to be. When I say everybody, I mean everybody. All right, so everybody that considers themselves a Tennessee fan, it's going to take us all. And the first way to demonstrate that is, showing up for the spring game, the passion for it. So I expect our fan base to be there. So, and we need it as a football team. We need it as a football program. Obviously, it helps in recruiting. When you look and you see that if you got 102,000 people for a spring game, that sends a message to recruits about how important spring football is at Tennessee and how much football is important in general. It also gives our guys a chance to compete in an electric atmosphere, which is important for us to do a good evaluation on them. So we've had 2 chances for scrimmages to get a look at them. There may be some guys that have gotten better each time. Hey, maybe they won't if there's that many people in the stands. But I think it gives them an opportunity to prepare for the environment they'll see in the fall.
David and Ron.
Yeah, Coach, Drew Richmond talked to us about maybe wanting 20 more practices, and you wanting to see guys who wish spring was continuing on. I mean, where's the team at with that? Do you get the sense that these guys are relieved that spring is almost over, or do you get the sense that they're hungry to practice again?
Well, it's easy to sit here and talk about. To me, it's kind of more about show me what you want instead of talking about what you want. I don't think that matters. I think what's important is we try to go out there each day and prepare and be the best that we can possibly be. And the thing about it is you get 15 days and 13 of them are gone for us. So we have one more practice in headgears, and then we have a orange and white game on Saturday. So hopefully we'll be able to get, I don't know, I'd like to see maybe 80 plays on each side of the ball, which would be game-like.
Rob and then Patrick.
Coach, on the position switches, three guys that look like they were where we saw them last Thursday, Eric Crosby, Greg Emerson, and Alante Taylor. Have they found a home, or are you still evaluating?
No, I think to be fair, I don't think letting a guy practice for 2 days and then going to a scrimmage is a fair assessment. I think we have an idea about their future, what they could be at that position as opposed to their last position. But we're going to let these guys finish through the spring at those spots, and then we'll evaluate when the spring's over with.
Patrick and Blake, kind of following up on that, Jeremy. Greg was a guy that you guys maybe weren't sure if he was going to be completely full go during the spring. What has he shown you guys first on defense when he was there? And has he been sort of swimming a little bit on the offensive side, or is he picking it up pretty quickly?
Well, I think the biggest thing is he's played offense before. He played offense in high school, and to say Greg is, an offense or defensive player, he didn't play his senior year. He's unfortunately suffered a pretty severe injury, at one of these camps during the summer. So he's done a really good job to get himself in his body healthy, to get back in kind of football shape. This is the first time he's actually practiced since last spring. So I think it's good for him to work on both sides of the ball. He's a young kid, and it's always easy for us to put unrealistic expectations on recruits. I think the big thing is it's a developmental game, and the position he plays is developmental. So moving forward, we'll see. We'll kind of make a decision as the summer goes to see where he's going to play.
Jeremy, this week I think that the Division I Council is expected to vote on the redshirt proposal, changing that rule that would allow guys to play in 4 games in one season and retain their redshirt. What's your stance on that, and how, if that is approved, how might that change or alter how you use redshirt or use freshmen?
Well, to me, you would like to be in a position where if you needed to redshirt a guy, that you redshirted him. The unfortunate part is you look at a guy that possibly could be playing a position, and say you get a couple of guys hurt at the end of the year. Well, and then the guy has to go in and play 2 games. Say it's an offensive line position, you have a bunch of guys that get hurt. And, you got to play with 5 offensive linemen. So, you put the guy in, he plays 2 games. I think that helps from that standpoint. So I'm not against it.
Could you use guys kind of like outside the injury situation? Could you use them more in like a spot game scenario, like maybe toward the end of the year, last 4 games of the year, you play guys, whereas otherwise you wouldn't? Or do you think that's something you'd really look at?
We play every game the same. It's not about who we play, it's about how we play. So we prepare the same way. We hope to play the same way. If you were fortunate enough to where you had an opportunity to play a guy and he could get some experience, it would be good to reward somebody that has worked hard, say on the scout team all year, okay, and they've done a good job. If you had a chance to do that, there ain't many places that have the luxury to do that, but I get it if you did.
Emily and Mike.
Coach, I know you've talked a lot about just the importance of the fan base and getting everybody involved to rebuild Tennessee football. But this is kind of your first opportunity this weekend to be among a lot of them. Do you plan to address fans personally or do any sort of read or anything just to get them excited?
No, I'm trying to get our football team to play at its best. So I'll be focused on that and recruiting. And I'll tell you what, I'm excited about meeting our parents, our players' parents. There's a lot of guys there's some guys on this team, very few, that we were involved in recruiting them, so I know their families personally, but there's a lot of guys, I've never met their parents. Heck, I never met them until I got here.
Mike.
Coach, I know when you took the job, you talked about a know you didn't play press every snap at Alabama, Georgia, and Florida State. It probably seemed like that to opponents, but as you evaluate this team and their ability in the secondary, what other types of coverages will you be working on, and do you think you'll be able to play that same amount of aggressive press as you have in the past, or is there more work to do on that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we got guys that's got plenty of talent. Talent's not an issue. Learning how to play, and that's really a lot of positions. We've got to learn how to play, got to learn how to compete, got to be a smart football player, you know. So there's more to than playing football than just when the ball snaps. There's a lot of things, especially defensive football, before the ball ever snaps. You can eliminate a lot of plays you're going to get, so the great ones know how to do that.
And then I guess just the teaching element, I mean, is that what you and Terry and Charles, is that just kind of what you're talking about here, that these guys can be coached up to play that team?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I'm not going to change the way I coach. I've had too much success doing it that way, so I'm going to coach the same way.
Justin and Wes and Austin.
Ty returns as your most experienced running back compared to the rest of the guys in that room. What have you kind of seen from him this spring, and what did he kind of show in Saturday's scrimmage that you hope to kind of see or see maybe improvement from in orange and white games?
Well, I would say with all of our guys, the first thing I'm going to talk about is ball security. You know, we have guys that make some good runs, but maybe when they get out in open field, they ain't securing the ball the correct way. You know, and sometimes you get guys that make runs that, you know, might not have done exactly what they're supposed to do. So there's kind of a bunch of things that go into it. But as a whole, I think the group of running backs have improved this spring, which we have very little depth at that position. That's why we moved Princeton Fant to that position. So, you know, we're looking for able bodies that can play running back. But the guys who have had a chance to compete have done that.
Jeremy, between some of the, I guess some of the injury issues and other things on the offensive line, and maybe the quarterback's not being live for contact, have you been able to get a sense at all for, you know, how y'all get after the passer in the front seven? Or has that been affected by any of that? Your ability, I guess, to see where y'all are there?
You know, it's kind of hard to tell. First of all, when it comes to being good on offense, one of the hardest things to do is to protect the quarterback, and that's even on good football teams. You know, good football teams struggle to protect the quarterback. You know, and then when you got situations, and we put our guys in the offense in some bad situations, a lot of third down periods, 2 minutes, playing situational football. So you got to know how to play in those situations. So, you know, I think it's hard to grade exactly where we're at on either side of the ball because we've had some guys out at key positions and we move guys around. But I can tell you this, we've improved in both areas on the offensive line and the defensive line as the spring has progressed.
Last couple, Austin and Mike. Coach, you worked with Charles before you got here, but you hadn't worked with Terry Fader. What have you noticed about him having been through basically all the spring practice, and what's impressed you about, you know, his teaching ability from the corner spot?
Terry?
Yeah, Terry.
Well, one thing I'll say about Terry is Terry has poise, you know, so he's probably got the worst position to coach because I'm over there with him all the time. He's a smart guy, picks things up really fast. He has a way about him with young men. You know, he's demanding. And the thing about Terry Fair is this, I think for 8 years, he played the position at the highest level. So either he played it the right way or he had to find a job, you know, and go to work. So to do that, you get good at your craft. So to me, that's the great thing about having him in the room. Got his degree, All-American, I think, first-round pick, and then goes out there and plays for, it's either 6 to 8 years, plays at a high level. So, you know, most of the guys that you go recruit, most of the guys that are on this team, they would love to do what he's done. If you could say, hey, give me that, they'd say, I'll take it right now. So I think that's probably a huge deal.
Mike Wilson.
Jeremy, the NCAA approved a rule change for kickoffs last week. I think fair caught inside the 25, so it's a touchback. What are your thoughts on that from a safety standpoint, but also how that can impact strategy on kickoffs?
You know, I hadn't had time to think about the strategy part of it. I would say from a safety standpoint, anytime you raise your hand and fair catch the ball, there's probably not going to be as many folks running down there hitting each other as opposed when they don't fair catch it. So, you know, it's kind of like when you get a run and go and you go hit the wall, it hurts. When you don't, it don't. So I would say that's probably self-explanatory.
Mike, last question.
You said 1 versus 2s, 2s versus 1s. We haven't seen a depth chart, we only know a rep chart. When will the players know what team they're on? When will that be released?
Thursday after practice. So we'll tell them. We got to sit down and figure out, because we want to make the most competitive situation we can get. You know, I think other day our ones on ones, we went, I think it was 64 snaps in the scrimmage, and 2s versus 2s went, I believe it was 62 snaps. So, and then our 3s went, I think it was, whatever, my math's not very good, ever how many that is. So, but anyhow, we've not done any 1s versus 2s, okay? So, and again, I say this, it really is a rep chart, but yes, we're putting the guys in these positions that we feel like have worked the hardest and done the most to be at that spot right now. Does that mean that will change in the fall? Absolutely, okay? We'll go back, because we'll be adding, you know, 14 signees. We'll be adding about 8 guys that's missed spring ball due to injury, and there possibly could be others.